Here is the full guide to creating a hard trap beat on FL Studio, where I will be breaking down all of the music theory, essential mixing techniques, and giving you tips and tricks to make your beats sound more professional to help increase your beat sales and land placements. Starting with the general music theory, in every track there is a key and a mode. Your keys, or tonal centers, are C, C sharp or D flat, D, D sharp or E flat, E, F, F sharp or G flat, G, G sharp or A flat, A sharp or B flat, and B. You then have different scales or modes, which are listed on here on FL Studio. Here I've highlighted the major scale, specifically in the key of C. This contains the same notes as the following modes: Dorian in the key of D, Phrygian in the key of E, Lydian in the key of F, Mixolydian in the key of G, minor in the key of A, and Locrian in the key of B. All of these keys contain the same notes, the only difference being the tonal center. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to be using the major and minor scales, as these are the most popular in modern music. I'm now going to create a major and minor progression, the term progression simply meaning a sequence of chords. Here I've created a 1, 5, 6, 4 progression in the C major key. Which sounds happy. And here I've created a 1, 4, 5, 1 progression in the key of A minor. Which sounds sad. Both of these progressions use keys with the same notes, which again are all white notes. However, they have completely different sounding moods because they have a different tonal center. Moving on to the next part of the tutorial, we're going to proceed with the A minor key. After copying the chord progression across to a new pattern, I'm now going to demonstrate what is referred to as an inversion. If we look at this D minor chord, we can transpose the notes up and down octaves, and no matter how we do this, the chord will always be a D minor chord. If we take the F, which is referred to as the third, and pitch it down an octave, we will now have a first inversion. If we take the A, which is referred to as the fifth, and pitch it down an octave, we'll have a second inversion. I'm then going to do the same thing with the E minor chord and leave the A minor chord how it is. I've now also decided to move the middle notes up an octave and move the whole progression down an octave. I'm now going to add a top line melody to add some energy to this progression. Here's what I came up with. At this point, I listened to the melody and I didn't like the sound of the last two chords. So I transposed the notes differently in the E minor chord and switched the last chord for an F major chord. I then decided to switch the piano for a different instrument. And I transposed the entire melody up 6 semitones to move the key of the beat from A minor to D sharp minor. I then layered this with another sound and added a few more top line notes. Now adding in a bass line. You can use any notes from the scale for a bass line, however it's pretty standard practice to use the root notes of your chords, which I've now done. It's important to use an EQ to cut out the lows from your melody to ensure that these don't clash with the bass line. I assigned the melody to a mixer track and added a simple 100Hz high pass filter to the melody. Moving back to the melody, I added some lead sounds to add variation. These are as follows: a string, a lead, another lead, and some vocal chops. Here's how the melody sounds all together. I've now added in an 808 bass line, which will play when I cut the original bass line from the track. This will again follow the root notes of the chords. I decided to use the Magnus 808 from my drum kit that I'll be releasing to all of my subscribers for free. Here's how the 808 sounds. I boosted the velocity of my 808s and added a soft clipper to the master track to ensure that this wasn't hard clipping and that my beat had a distorted effect that you commonly hear in trap beats. I then added the following drum sounds: a snare, a hi-hat, an open hat, an accent snare, this shaker perk, another shaker perk, and this chant. Here's how the drums sound all together. Finally, this is how I structured the beat. I structured the first 8 bars with all melodic components playing, including the bass line. The next 8 bars cut out the majority of these melodic components. The next 16 bars are the hook, so this plays all of the melodic components and all of the drums, but removing the original bass line from the track, to ensure that this doesn't clash with the 808. The next 32 bars are for the verse, which feeds back into the hook, and then we keep repeating. Here's how the final beat sounds. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. If you feel like you learned anything in this tutorial, please give the video a like. I'm going to be posting these tutorials regularly, so make sure to subscribe if you want to see more of this content. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.